Hey Frag fam, what is going on? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So we're going to continue on with the Spring 2025 collection of videos, if you will, but we're going to focus on one specific thing when it comes to spring fragrances for this video in particular. That is going to be great performance. I know a lot of you guys definitely appreciate something like this. So when I say great performance, I do mean either a combination of great projection or great longevity. The fragrances I got for this video, it's going to be a variety of both of those things, but at a minimum, they all at least last on skin, at least on my skin, for a very long time. Couple of things to remember when I talk about the fragrances I'm going to talk about. Projection, performance, longevity, all of that is variable from person to person. Just because I get a lot of hours out of it doesn't mean you will. A lot of things can vary the performance of a fragrance, including the environment, your skin chemistry, what you're doing while you're wearing the fragrances, how many sprays you wear, etc., etc. It's not going to be the same for everyone. Matter of fact, when I wear these fragrances, it's not the same every single time. But on average, I get good performance and for some of these great projection out of them as well. And the other thing to remember is my metrics for great performance are going to be 8 to 10 hours to 10 to 12 hours. 8 to 10 is great performance in my book. 10 to 12, or should I say 10 and greater, really is pretty much beast mode for me. Any fragrance that's lasting that long is already probably superseding anything I'm doing for that day where I need the fragrance to be around for that amount of time. So as far as I'm concerned, that's beast mode. I know some people may say it needs to be longer. That's fine. That's just my metric. That's what I'm going by. So got 10 fragrances to talk about today. These are great spring fragrance wears, and they do project and perform, or a combination of those two things, very, very well. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like this content, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick it off with one from Lorenzo Pizzalia, and that's gonna be Black Sea. Lorenzo Pizzalia, Black Sea. So it should go without saying, that's a good springtime wear because that's what the video is about. So what does this fragrance smell like? In case you haven't heard me talk about it, because I've talked about this quite a bit on the channel. This is going to be a darker aquatic fragrance. What I mean by darker is it's a little less of a focus on the kind of watery, bright, ozonic aquatics you sometimes get. This is more about like seawater, algae. It's a little bit powdery, a good amount of ambergris-like notes in this. It does have those ozonic natures, but it's not as bright of a fragrance. This one carries some weight to it. It's also quite a bit of a salty smell as well. So this is a fragrance that's not going to be for everyone in my opinion, but all I can say is if you like it, you love it, and people really like this scent. I've gotten a lot of compliments on this scent, which is surprising to me. But all that being said, let's talk about the main subject matter, performance here. This is a great projector and a great performer. In terms of projection, it could fill a room. You really don't need to spray a lot of sprays with this. I am warning you, if you got this scent or you're looking to get this fragrance, trust me, it's not one you need to spray heavy. Anytime I've gotten compliments, it's been 2 to 3 sprays and pretty decent sized rooms. They don't have to be right next to me. So that's what I'm saying. It's a powerful scent. Projection is really, really nice on this. As far as longevity goes, this fragrance is nuclear. So yeah, well past that 10-hour mark. If it gets on your clothes, it could be there for weeks if you don't effectively try to wash it out. If it like gets on there heavily, I mean, I'm not saying if it's residual, it'll go away in a few days. But yeah, this fragrance is a powerful fragrance, extrait de parfum concentration, so high oil content, and it's a great wear for the spring. It definitely is a great wear for the current environment, especially actually it can work on warmer days as well as cooler days. So it's kind of a year-round scent in my opinion, but I would place it mostly spring, fall. So great wear for the spring, and it is nuclear. Once again, from Lorenzo Pizzalia, this is Black Sea. All right, let's move on. Next one is coming from Marc-Antoine Barras, and this is Ganymede. Marc-Antoine Barras, Ganymede. All right, so again, goes without saying, this is another year-round scent, so yes, works great for the spring. With the smell of this one, it's going to be kind of a dry, woody, mineralic, slightly orange flavored scent with some leathery touches, more of a lighter leather, a little bit of a bright and ozonic kind of leather, because there's some ozonic characteristics to this. I think violet is playing a heavy role in that. It's very dry and woody, and I get this kind of burnt sugary smell with the combination of the mandarin that's in this, and in my opinion the immortelle as well. Immortelle, depending on how it's used, can have a lot of scent characteristics. In my opinion, it's giving a little bit of a burnt sugary vibe to this scent. So yeah, I absolutely love this stuff. It's my favorite fragrance out of my collection at this time. In terms of the performance, now this one's not as heavy as a projector as Black Sea. This is a little bit more of a moderate projector in my opinion. It's not a skin scent. The person doesn't have to be right next to you to smell it. And it does have a little bit of reach, but it doesn't push off the skin anywhere close to what Black Sea does. Now for me, in terms of longevity, if I had to put a number on it, I don't know, let's just say 14 hours or something of that nature. I wouldn't quite call this one nuclear, but it is on my skin all day long. I can detect it throughout the entire day. If I spray it early, by the end of the day, I can still pick it up, but not quite as much as Black Sea. So yeah, this one's not nuclear, but definitely a great performer for sure. And as far as I know, many of the offshoots of this, if this one's a little too much in terms of the leathery notes, Bois Imperial is a good alternative for that. It's a lot cleaner. Projection, as far as I know with that one, is also great. So the Ganymede scent DNA is known to be a good performing scent DNA. So once again, from Marc-Antoine Barras, we've got Ganymede. All right, next one is going to be coming from Amouage, and we've got Lyric Man. Amouage, Lyric Man. So we got some rose here. You can always throw a good rose fragrance into a spring rotation. This is more of a jammy, thicker rose, but it's accompanied with lime, like citrus, some spice, kind of a nutmeg kind of spice feel. It's got some incense and some resinous qualities to it. It's a little bit woody as well. Good amount of sweetness in this too. Not overall just a flat out sweet fragrance, but you definitely get some sweeter notes, some vanillic-like notes with the scent. Overall, very, very pleasant fragrance. Could be a little divisive for some people. I would say if you're new to rose fragrances, this is maybe not the first one to try. But that being said, great rose scent for the spring and powerful as is required to be on this video. For me, from a projection standpoint, this one is good projection. Maybe not as strong as Black Sea, and not a room filler either, but it could fill a room, particularly if you overspray it, which at that point, I think you're just gonna kind of choke people out. Another one, you really don't need like a ton of sprays for it to do what it needs to do. It smells great in the air. As far as longevity goes, this is kind of that classic Amouage longevity. This will pretty much stick to your skin all day long. Same thing with this one. If this gets in your clothes, good luck getting it out. I got it on in clothes before. I got it on headphones before. I swear it was on those headphones for like 3 weeks. It was crazy. But yeah, this one, good performance overall with this fragrance as well, and just a great springtime wear also. So once again, from Amouage, this one here is Lyric Man. Next one's coming from Amyris. This one here is going to be Silver Birch. Amyris, Silver Birch. So what you're going to get from Silver Birch, you do get birch-like qualities in here. There's some smoky vetiver, I think, playing into that a little bit. You get some fresh floral characteristics in this. There's a little bit of a fruitiness, very nice citrus, a touch of spice, and kind of a dry woodiness. This one paints a picture in my mind of like walking down a wooden beach path with some shrubbery around it. So kind of like those pathways you might see close to the beach, maybe not right up on it, but just very, very close to it. That's what this kind of paints. That's the picture that this fragrance kind of paints in my mind. And as soon as I smelled it, I'm like, this is just the epitome of a really great spring fragrance. So moving on to the powerful standpoint. How powerful is this? Another nuclear fragrance. I've never worn more than 3 or 4 sprays of this. And I mean, if I sprayed more than that, I'm going to get choked out by it. It's also a scent that I just do not go anosmic to. So I have to go light on the sprays for myself. But this one projects like a monster. This could be a room filler, kind of. This is why I say you don't need a lot of sprays, because trust me, people will pick it up. And in terms of how long it stays on the skin, I mean, 24 hours. It's been on my skin for up to 24 hours before. So it's basically a nuclear fragrance. So this is a great one if you really want a powerful, long-lasting, kind of spring-centered fragrance where it almost smells like spring, not just a good wear for spring. So once again, from Amyris, this one here is Silver Birch. All right, guys, next one is coming from Whittian. Happens to be my scent of the day today, which I'm not wearing yet. It's going to be Liwa. Uden Liwa. I'm not wearing it yet because this fragrance is super, super powerful, and frankly, I don't want it on until I actually go and do what I gotta do for the day. I don't need to wear this at home, it's just too strong. So what is this? Spicy white florals, but not just white florals, spicy florals, including some white florals, but also I get maybe a little bit of geranium in here, I get some jasmine-like qualities, and then dry wood, cedarwood, sandalwood, oud, and musk combination. Talked about it before. This is kind of similar to Oud for Greatness or Halton from Parfums de Marly. Probably a little bit closer to Halton since it's the same perfumer. But this is going to be, I would say, a more floral take on an Oud for Greatness like DNA. So that's why I say it's actually really, really great for spring. I don't know if people would consider Halton and Oud for Greatness like springtime scents. To me, this one actually really works well for spring because of those heavier floral characteristics for the scent. Beyond all that, oh, by the way, spice profile, saffron. Beyond all of that, this stuff is insanely powerful. This is another nuclear fragrance. From a projection standpoint, this can absolutely fill a room. Again, you don't need a ton of sprays for this to do what it needs to do. And in terms of the longevity aspect, I can't put a number on it. Actually, anytime I've worn this, I've always like taken a shower before it kind of subsided because I tend to wear this when I'm active just because of how powerful it is. That's actually going to be the case today. That being said, I could easily see this being potentially a 24-hour fragrance. Let's just say it goes well past my metric for it being a beast mode scent, goes well past that 10 to 12 hour mark. So this is a very powerful scent, projection wise and longevity wise. And I believe this is an extrait. It says parfum, so I'm not, this might just be a parfum. Either way, powerful stuff here. Once again, from Uden, this is Liwa. All right, guys, next one's gonna be coming from Prada, and this is Prada L'Homme. Prada L'Homme. Haven't pulled this one out in a while, but this is one of my first acquisitions to my collection, and you can see I definitely put some wear into this earlier on. Been sitting on the sideline for a while, but I still love this stuff. What is this? This is more of a clean, soapy, bubbly kind of take on an iris scent. And I don't mean that like bubblegum, bubble bath soap smell. I just mean it kind of has a soapy smell, but it's a sweet one. A little bit of a spice in there, kind of an ambery characteristic going along with it as well. Prada L'Homme, you know, is pretty much a classic as far as I'm concerned. Great fragrance for anyone who's looking for a really good office fragrance in general. And because it is kind of floral / fresh and clean centered, it's obviously a great wear for the springtime. So, projection and performance. I don't know what other people's experience is with this. This is obviously not talked about that much anymore. It's kind of faltered, if you will, in terms of popularity. But for me, projection-wise, pretty moderate. Not going to be a beast mode type of iris fragrance, but people can definitely pick it up. I don't think you have to douse yourself in it for it to be effective. At the same time, I probably wouldn't be doing just 3 or 4 sprays. But in terms of longevity, this surprisingly sticks to my skin a long time. Now, this one is not beast mode. Well, it's like borderline beast mode. It's not a nuclear fragrance. I'd give it actually about that 10 to 12 hour mark. I wouldn't say it goes beyond 12 hours for the most part. Could depend on what you're doing, could depend on how much you spray. But overall, when you smell the fragrance, the last thing you probably think in your mind is, oh, this is easily going to be a long-lasting fragrance. No, you probably feel like it's going to subside after a while. You don't necessarily think it's going to be weak, but it could falter away. But on my skin, this actually performs very, very nicely. Anytime I've worn this, usually for work purposes, it's lasted the entire work day. So yes, this is a great spring option, just one of those kind of classic, really, well, not really classic, but it's kind of old at this point. But yeah, I just wanted to give some shine to this one because it does accomplish what I'm talking about in this video. So once again, from Prada, this is Prada L'Homme. All right, guys, next one is going to be coming from Xerjoff, and this is Uden Overdose. Xerjoff Uden Overdose. All right, so what you get from this scent here is primarily it's going to be a tobacco flower heavy scent. If you're not familiar with tobacco flower, it's a very distinct smell. So the best thing you can do is maybe research some tobacco flower fragrances and get your nose on them and see what you think. What I get from tobacco flower is going to be kind of a powdery, sweet, kind of soapy floral smell. It can really take over a scent. I don't think it's necessarily, well, I guess it could be divisive because it's so particular. I frankly love the smell of tobacco flower. All that being said, what else you got in this? You got some brighter citrus-like notes. You got some kind of earthy, coffee-like earthy notes with this. Obviously, a ton of tobacco flower, some rich kind of amberiness to this scent. It's quite sweet as well. It's basically a fresh and slightly floral, somewhat soapy amber fragrance. Really great for this time of year, really great. I'm sure this fragrance definitely has its fans. I know there's many fans of the original. I don't have the original. I can't give you a comparison. All I could guess is this is a richer version of that. So all that being said, how does this fragrance do with projection and performance? Projection is good. Not necessarily room filling, but this one does push off the skin in my opinion. And as far as longevity goes, I would have to give this one beast mode. Anytime I've worn this, it has certainly lasted on the skin. It doesn't require a million sprays, not a 2, 3, 4 spray fragrance, but 6 to 8 at max. 8 if you're kind of outdoors and stuff, in my opinion. But yeah, this one here is a great spring scent that definitely kind of checks those boxes in terms of longevity and projection. But it is a particular smell with that heavy use of tobacco flower, so it's something you probably want to sample first, get your nose on. So once again, from Xerjoff, this is Uden Overdose. Alright guys, next one's going to be coming from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, and this is Amyris Homme Extrait de Parfum. Mason Francis Kirkjohn, Amyris Homme, the Extrait version. I don't have the EDP. I honestly don't have a whole lot of experience with it, so I can't give a comparison. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of comparisons out there. For me, man, this is almost like a connoisseur's darling, because this one doesn't get the shine that I think it deserves. What is it? In simple terms, it's a fresh and sweet fragrance centered around the note of amyris. Amyris to me pretty much comes across as kind of like a balsamic, fruity, woody smell, which you can really get from this as the fragrance kind of dries down. There's a good amount of citrus in this. There's a very strong dose of Ceylon cinnamon, which is a brighter form of cinnamon, and a good amount of like tonka bean, vanillic notes. Not quite an ambery feel, but it is a fresh and sweet fragrance. Citrus profile, kind of mandarin centered, so kind of, it doesn't really smell like mandarin or smell like orange. That's just kind of the attitude that it has. It's kind of how it behaves. But it's a great, fresh and sweet fragrance with that focus on the amyris, which again is that balsamic, woody, slightly fruity kind of smell. Awesome stuff here. In terms of the main subject matter for the video, this stuff here is beast mode. This is a great projector. It's one that does not require a lot of sprays, and in terms of how long it lasts on skin, it's beast mode. I don't know if I quite call it nuclear, but I don't know, maybe 18 hours if I just had to put a time on it. It does kind of wither away to the point where you can detect it, but it's pretty close to the skin at that point. But the kind of base oils, if you will kind of linger on. But I would say at that point, the fragrance is kind of dissipated to the point where you're not really enjoying it as much as a fragrance anymore. It's more so just a reminder that you sprayed yourself earlier. So that's why I kind of give it that distinction. But that being said, if you want a good springtime fragrance that typically has really good performance and projection, this one will certainly check those boxes for most people. And again, to me, this fragrance is kind of unsung from the house. I think it deserves more praise. If you haven't checked it out already, definitely check it out. Once again, from Mason Francis Kirkjohn, this is Amyris Homme Extrait. Alright guys, next one's coming from Tom Ford. This one here is going to be Beau De Jour. Tom Ford Beau De Jour. So this is great for the springtime simply because it's the aromatic fougere style of fragrance. Biggest difference between this one and maybe some of the more classic ones is it's got just a little bit of a modern spin on it. Heavy use of lavender in the opening. I know when I first got my bottle, that lavender was almost funky, but it has since settled in. It's not quite like that anymore, but it's still a blast of lavender. Very herbaceous, almost lemony lavender right up front. Mixing with all of that, you've got some patchouli, some geranium I think is in here, kind of a floral touch to just balance it a little bit. Some ambery like notes. And man, listen, this fragrance, if you like fougères, this is kind of like a simplified version of a great aromatic fougere fragrance with a slightly modern twist, in that it is a little bit sweeter overall. I love the way this stuff smells. However, it's not going to be for everybody because not everybody's a fan of fragrances like that. But this is a great one from the house of Tom Ford. Now, in terms of the subject matter for the video, projection, moderate with this one. It kind of behaves like a good fougere too. Most fougères, in my opinion, do not fill up rooms. That's not really their intent. They're kind of meant for like a classic gentleman kind of vibe, which means you're not filling up a room with your fragrance with that. In terms of longevity, I often forget how well this one performs. For me, I would say this is excellent performance, 10 to 12 hours. I don't know if I'd go quite beast mode with it, but maybe on a good day, it could kind of linger into that territory, but I would say it's more so excellent performance, 10 to 12 hour range. Anytime I've worn this, which is typically for work, and I've worn it on very long work days, the fragrance is there for me. I pick it up all day long and I love every minute of it. I've certainly gotten compliments on this scent as well. It's a great wear for the spring. Granted, you could wear this at any time, but that aromatic fougere style to it with just a hint of some richer sweet notes is perfect for this time of year. So once again, from Tom Ford, this is Beau De Jour. All right, guys, and last but not least, we got one from Francesca Bianchi, and that's going to be Etruscan Water. Francesca Bianchi, Etruscan Water. So this one here is a take on a Chypre fragrance, a classic Chypre fragrance, but with some modern sensibilities to it. This is kind of a hair on your chest kind of fragrance. Makes me think of those fragrances like Amyris, which is something that my grandfather wore, and I love the smell of fragrances like that. So it's a play on that, but again, modernized. You're gonna get a good amount of spice with this, kind of in that cumin kind of range. I think caraway seed is like the given note, which is very similar to cumin. It might even be the same thing. I looked that up a while ago, but I don't remember. But all that being said, kind of a cumin-like spice, but it doesn't go too BO-like, which is maybe good for people who don't like cumin. You get woody notes in this, a collection of woody notes. You get a collection of resinous kind of characteristics. And it just kind of overall smells like a really good modern interpretation of a classic Chypre fragrance, and I am here for it. And you know, Francesca Bianchi, known for using very heavy, strong fragrance notes. That's certainly the case in this one, but it's very well balanced. So if you like those classic fragrances, this might be one worth checking out. Beyond all that, this stuff here is nuclear. From a projection standpoint, not quite a room filler. However, when you first spray it on, it pushes like crazy, but it does settle after, I don't know, maybe an hour or two. It's not close to the skin. It's just, you know, settles in where it's not pushing out too far, which is good because this is some strong stuff. In terms of a longevity standpoint, this is over 24 hours easily. So it is nuclear. It will stick to the skin. Last time I wore this, I only did 3 sprays. I could pick it up in the air all day long. I did not really have to go in to smell it. If I was just kind of going in to see how the fragrances has developed. But overall, you don't need to do that with this fragrance. And in terms of how long it lasted on my skin, it was there from early in the morning all the way to very, very late at night. And it was still easily detectable and still smelling like a complete fragrance on my skin, not just smelling like I sprayed a fragrance a long time ago. So this stuff here is nuclear. It makes sense. It's using very dense, heavy ingredients. You can see the color in here, and also it is an extrait as well, so very high oil concentration. But this actually can work well for spring. To me, the Chypre characteristic can vary a little bit in terms of seasonality, but really can certainly shine in like the spring/fall time, the transition season. So that's why I put this one on the list. So once again, from Francesca Bianchi, this one here is Etruscan Water. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you would, please let me know down in the comments below, what are some of your favorite spring fragrances that have great projection or performance, combination of the two, one or the other. Would love to see what you guys have to say. I'm sure you guys definitely have some ones that I did not talk about in this video, because I got plenty in my cabinet that I could have put in this video as well that I didn't. I just chose these 10 for this one. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you all. Please remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.